Hello friends, welcome to our latest video. Today we're going to be taking a look at some unsolved wilderness disappearances in the Shoshone National Forest. Join me, let's walk and see. Now, the Shoshone National Forest, a sprawling expanse of rugged wilderness in northwestern Wyoming, is a land of breathtaking beauty and profound solitude. Its 2.4 million acres encompass jagged peaks, dense forests, and alpine meadows, a testament to the raw, untamed spirit of the American West. But beneath this veneer of natural splendor lies a darker, more unsettling reality. For in the vastness of the Shoshone, people have vanished, their fates seemingly swallowed by the immense and unforgiving landscape, leaving behind only questions that echo in the whispering pines. The most prominent and haunting of these is the disappearance of Amy Rowe Bechtel, a promising Olympic marathon hopeful who ran into the forest one summer day in 1997 and was never seen again. Her case, along with the unsettling context of other less documented disappearances and the inherent perils of the wilderness, casts a long shadow over this majestic terrain. The Shoshone National Forest, the first federally protected national forest in the United States, is a formidable wilderness. Its terrain is a dramatic tapestry of deep canyons, roaring rivers, and towering mountains, including Gannett Peak, the highest point in Wyoming. The forest is home to a diverse and often dangerous array of wildlife, from grizzly bears and mountain lions to wolves and elk. The weather can be brutally unpredictable, with summer snowstorms and sudden dramatic temperature drops posing a constant threat to even the most experienced outdoor enthusiast. It's a place where the line between adventure and peril is perilously thin, a reality that has been tragically underscored by those who have ventured into its depths and failed to return. On the morning of July 24, 1997, Amy Rowe Bechtel, a vibrant and fiercely dedicated 24-year-old runner, was preparing for a 10K race she was organizing in the Shoshone National Forest. A resident of Lander, a town nestled on the edge of the forest, Amy was intimately familiar with the rugged trails that snaked through the Wind River Range. After running some errands in town, she drove her white Toyota station wagon to the Loop Road, a scenic route that winds its way through the forest, to preview the race course. It was a routine she had likely performed countless times before, but on this particular day, the familiar path would lead her into an enduring mystery. Her husband, Steve Bechtel, a well-known rock climber, returned home later that afternoon to find Amy gone. As the hours stretched into evening with no word from his wife, a growing sense of unease settled in. By 10:30 p.m., Steve contacted the authorities and a search was initiated. In the early hours of the following morning, Amy's car was discovered parked on the side of a dirt road near the Burnt Gulch area of the Loop Road. The doors were unlocked, and her keys, sunglasses, and a to-do list were found inside. Her wallet, however, was missing. But there was no sign of a struggle, no indication of what might have happened. Amy Rowe Bechtel had simply vanished. The initial search for Amy was one of the largest in Wyoming's history. Hundreds of volunteers, law enforcement officers, and search and rescue teams scoured the rugged terrain on foot, on horseback, and from the air. Hopes of finding her alive, perhaps injured after a fall or wildlife encounter, slowly faded with each passing day. The search was exhaustive, but it yielded not a single clue to her whereabouts. Quote, "We should have found Amy Bechtel if she were a runner up there and nothing else entered the picture," end quote. That's from Fremont County Sheriff Dave King, his words hinting at the sinister turn the investigation was about to take. With the absence of any physical evidence suggesting an accident or animal attack, investigators began to consider the possibility of foul play. Their attention soon focused on the closest person to Amy, her husband, Steve Bechtel. By all accounts, their marriage appeared to be a happy one, a union of two passionate outdoor athletes. However, as investigators delved deeper, a more complex picture began to emerge. Friends of the couple offered conflicting reports of their relationship, with some describing Steve as possessive and prone to belittling his wife. The discovery of Steve's personal journals further fueled suspicion. In them, he had penned violent, disturbing writings, some of which described the act of killing. Steve maintained that these were merely song lyrics and creative writing, an outlet for his frustrations and not a reflection of his intentions. However, for law enforcement, these were a significant red flag. Steve Bechtel's alibi for the time of Amy's disappearance was that he had been rock climbing with a friend in a different part of the forest. While his friend corroborated his account, investigators found inconsistencies in his timeline. A crucial piece of eyewitness testimony also cast a shadow of doubt. A woman who had been in the area where Amy's car was found reported seeing a truck matching the description of Steve's speeding away with a blonde woman in the passenger seat. The turning point in the relationship between Steve Bechtel and the investigators came when he was asked to take a polygraph test. On the advice of his lawyer, he refused. This decision, while his legal right, was seen by many, including law enforcement and the public, as an admission of guilt. From that point on, Steve Bechtel became the primary suspect in his wife's disappearance. He has consistently maintained his innocence, though, stating, quote, "I was pretty blown away. This is not cool," end quote. In the years following Amy's disappearance, Steve had her legally declared dead and has since remarried. The cloud of suspicion, however, has never fully dissipated. Now, while the investigation into Steve Bechtel stalled, another, more terrifying possibility emerged. Dale Wayne Eaton, a convicted murderer and suspected serial killer, was known to have been in the Lander area around the time of Amy's disappearance. Eaton was a predator of the most chilling kind, a man who haunted the remote highways and wildernesses of the West, preying on vulnerable women. In 1988, 9 years before Amy vanished, Eaton abducted, assaulted, and did away with Lisa Marie Kimmel. Her case bore some unsettling similarities to what might have befallen Amy Bechtel. Kimmel was traveling alone when she was targeted. Her body was later found in the North Platte River. A crucial piece of evidence in Kimmel's case was her car, which Eaton had buried on his property. It was a chilling trophy of his crime. Investigators have long suspected Eaton of being the Great Basin Killer, a serial murderer responsible for a string of slayings across Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah. His method of operation often involved targeting women who were alone in the remote areas. A chilling piece of information that connects Eaton to the Shoshone National Forest is that he was captured there after escaping from custody on an unrelated kidnapping charge. He was a man comfortable and familiar with the very wilderness where Amy disappeared. Now, Eaton has never been charged in connection with Amy Bechtel's disappearance and has reportedly refused to discuss the case with investigators. Without a body or any physical evidence linking him to the scene, the theory of his involvement remains just that, a theory. Yet, for many, it's a more plausible explanation than the idea that her husband, a man with no prior history of violence, could have committed such a crime and disposed of her body so flawlessly that not a single trace has ever been found. The specter of Dale Wayne Eaton looms large over the case, a chilling reminder of the other dangers that lurk in the wild. Now, while the case of Amy Roe Bechtel is indeed the most well-known of the Shoshone National Forest mysteries, it is important to acknowledge the broader context of disappearances in this vast wilderness and the adjacent Wind River Indian Reservation. Over the years, other individuals, including hunters and hikers, have all gone missing in the forest, their stories often receiving far less media attention. The sheer scale and ruggedness of the terrain mean that a simple misstep, a sudden turn in the weather, or an unfortunate encounter with wildlife can have fatal consequences, with the wilderness itself becoming the final resting place, the secrets of what transpired locked away in its forever silent embrace. Furthermore, the Wind River Indian Reservation, which borders the Shoshone National Forest, faces a crisis of missing and murdered indigenous people. Indigenous individuals, particularly women and young girls, disappear and are often murdered at alarmingly high rates, their cases receiving inadequate attention from law enforcement and the media. While the circumstances of these disappearances are often different from those of a solo runner on a forest trail, they're a critical and tragic part of the larger story of those who have been lost in the region. The grief and unanswered questions of these families are a somber counterpoint to the more sensationalized wilderness mystery narrative. The Shoshone National Forest remains a place of profound beauty and unsettling mystery. The case of Amy Roe Bechtel, with its two compelling and conflicting narratives, continues to captivate and frustrate those who seek answers. Was she indeed the victim of a domestic dispute that escalated to a horrific conclusion? with her body hidden so expertly by someone who knew the wilderness intimately? Or did she have the tragic misfortune of crossing paths with a predatory serial killer who saw in the lone runner an easy target? Without new evidence, a confession, or the discovery of her remains, these questions will likely continue to hang in the crisp mountain air. The silence that surrounds her disappearance is a testament to the power of the wilderness to conceal, to erase, and to hold its secrets close. The unsolved mysteries of the Shoshone National Forest serve as a haunting reminder that in the heart of even the most breathtaking landscapes, darkness can and does exist, and that for some, a journey into the wild can become a one-way trip, sadly, leaving behind only an aching void and the endless echo of unanswered questions. Well, friends, there you have it. What do you think of the case of Amy Roe Bechtel? I look forward to your comments, as always, but please keep it friendly and respectful. For now, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you a little further on down the trail. I'm Steve Stockton. Tell your animals I said hi.